A.5.1 The Paris Commune. The Paris Commune of 1871 played an important role in the development of both anarchist ideas and the movement. As Bakunin commented at the time, open quote, revolutionary socialism, i.e. anarchism, has just attempted its first striking and practical demonstration in the Paris Commune. It showed to all enslaved peoples, and are there any masses that are not slaves, the only road to emancipation and health. Paris inflicted a mortal blow upon the political traditions of bourgeois radicalism and gave a real basis to revolutionary socialism. End quote. The Paris Commune was created after France was defeated by Prussia in the Franco-Prussian War. The French government tried to send in troops to regain the Parisian National Guard's cannon to prevent it from falling into the hands of the population. Open quote. Learning that the Versailles soldiers were trying to seize the cannon, recounted participant Louise Michel, men and women of Montmartre swarmed up the butte in surprise maneuver. Those people who were climbing up the butte believed they would die, but they were prepared to pay the price. The soldiers refused to fire on the jeering crowd and turned their weapons on their officers. This was March 18th. The Commune had begun, and the people wakened. The 18th of March could have belonged to the allies of kings, or to foreigners, or to the people. It was the people's. End quote. In the free elections called by the Parisian National Guard, the citizens of Paris elected a council made up of a majority of Jacobins and Republicans and a minority of socialists, mostly Blanquists, authoritarian socialists, and followers of the anarchist Proudhon. This council proclaimed Paris autonomous and desired to recreate France as a confederation of communes, i.e. communities. Within the commune, the elected council people were recallable and paid an average wage. In addition, they had to report back to the people who had elected them and were subjected to recall by electors if they did not carry out their mandates. Why this development caught the imagination of anarchists is clear. It has strong similarities with anarchist ideas. In fact, the example of the Paris Commune was in many ways similar to how Bakunin had predicted that a revolution would have to occur. A major city declaring itself autonomous, organizing itself, leading by example, and urging the rest of the planet to follow it. See Letter to Albert Richards in Bakunin on Anarchism. The Paris Commune began the process of creating a new society, one organized from the bottom up. It was, open quote, a blow for the decentralization of political power, end quote. Many anarchists played a role within the Commune. For example, Louise Michel, the Reclus brothers, and Eugène Varlin, the latter murdered in the repression afterwards. As for the reforms initiated by the Commune, such as the reopening of workplaces as cooperatives, anarchists can see their ideas of associated labor beginning to be realized. By May, 43 workplaces were cooperatively run, and the Louvre Museum was a munitions factory run by a workers' council. Echoing Proudhon, a meeting of the Mechanics Union and the Association of Metal Workers argued that, open quote, our economic emancipation can only be obtained through the formation of workers' associations, which alone can transform our position from that of wage earners to that of associates, end quote. They instructed their delegates to the Commune's Commission on Labor Organization to support the following objectives. Open quote, the abolition of the exploitation of man by man, the last vestige of slavery, the organization of labor in mutual associations, and inalienable capital, end quote. In this way, they hoped to ensure that equality must not be an empty word in the Commune. The Engineers Union voted at a meeting on 23rd of April that since the aim of the Commune should be economic emancipation, it should, open quote, organize labor through associations in which there would be joint responsibility in order to suppress the exploitation of man by man, end quote. As well as self-managed workers' associations, the Communards practiced direct democracy in a network popular clubs, popular organizations similar to the directly democratic neighborhood assemblies, sections of the French Revolution. Open quote, people govern yourselves through your public meetings, through your press, end quote, proclaimed the newspaper of one club. The Commune was seen as an expression of the assembled people, for, to quote another club, open quote, communal power resides in each arrondissement, neighborhood, wherever men are assembled who have a horror of the yoke and of servitude, end quote. Little wonder that Gustave Courbet, artist, friend, and follower of Proudhon, proclaimed Paris as, open quote, a true paradise. All social groups have established themselves as federations and are masters of their own fate, end quote. In addition, the Commune's declaration to the French people, which echoed many key anarchist ideas, it saw the political unity of society as being based on, open quote, the voluntary association of all local initiatives, the free and spontaneous concourse of all individual energies for the common aim, the well-being, the liberty, and the security of all, end quote. The new society envisioned by the Communards was one based on the, open quote, absolute autonomy of the Commune, assuring to each its integral rights and to each Frenchman the full exercise of his aptitudes as a man, a citizen, and a laborer. The autonomy of the Commune will have for its limits only the equal autonomy of all other communes adhering to the contract. Their association must ensure the liberty of France, end quote. With its vision of a confederation of communes, Bakunin was correct to assert that the Paris Commune was, open quote, a bold, clearly formulated negation of the state, end quote. Moreover, the Commune's ideas on federation obviously reflected the influence of Proudhon on French radical ideas. Indeed, the Commune's vision of a communal France based on a federation of delegates bound by imperative mandates issued by their electors and subject to recall at any moment echoes Proudhon's ideas. Proudhon had argued in favor of the implementation of the binding mandate in 1848, and for federation of communes in his work, The Principle of Federation. Thus, both economically and politically, the Paris Commune was heavily influenced by anarchist ideas. Economically, the theory of associated production expounded by Proudhon and Bakunin became consciously revolutionary practice. Politically, in the Commune's call for federalism and autonomy, anarchists see their, open quote, future social organization being carried out from the bottom up by the free association of federation of workers, starting with associations, then going into the communes, the regions, the nations, and finally culminating in a great international and universal federation, end quote. However, for anarchists, the commune did not go far enough. It did not abolish the state within the commune as it had abolished it beyond it. The Communards organized themselves in Jacobin manner, to use Bakunin's cutting term. As Peter Kropotkin pointed out, while, open quote, proclaiming the free commune, the people of Paris proclaimed an essential anarchist principle. They stopped mid-course and gave themselves a communal council copied from the old municipal councils. Thus, the Paris Commune did not break with the tradition of the state of representative government, and it did not attempt to achieve within the commune that organization from the simple to the complex it inaugurated by proclaiming the independence and free federation of the communes. This led to disaster as the commune council became, open quote, immobilized by red tape and lost the sensitivity that comes from continued contact with the masses. Paralyzed by their distancing from the revolutionary center, the people, they themselves paralyzed the popular initiative, end quote. In addition, its attempts at economic reform did not go far enough, making no attempt to turn all workplaces into cooperatives, i.e. to expropriate capital, and forming associations of these cooperatives to coordinate and support each other's economic activities. Paris, stressed Voltairine de Cleyre, open quote, failed to strike at economic tyranny, and so came of what it could have achieved, which was a free community whose economic affairs shall be arranged by the groups of actual producers and distributors, eliminating the useless and harmful element now in possession of the world's capital, end quote. As the city was under constant siege by the French army, it is understandable that the Communards had other things on their minds. However, for Kropotkin, such a position was a disaster. Open quote. They treated the economic question as a secondary one, which would be attended to later on after the triumph of the Commune. But the crushing defeat which soon followed and the bloodthirsty revenge taken by the middle class proved once more that the triumph of a popular commune was materially impossible without a parallel triumph of the people in the economic field, end quote. Anarchists drew the obvious conclusions, arguing that, open quote, if no central government was needed to rule the independent communes, if the national government is thrown overboard and national unity is obtained by free federation, then a central municipal government becomes equally useless and noxious. The same federative principle would do within the Commune." End quote. Instead of abolishing the state within the Commune by organizing federations of directly democratic mass assemblies like the Parisian sections of the Revolution of 1789-93, see Kropotkin's Great French Revolution for more on these, the Paris Commune kept representative government and suffered for it. Open quote. Instead of acting for themselves, the people, confiding in their governors, entrusted them the charge of taking the initiative. This was the first consequence of the inevitable result of elections. The council soon became the greatest obstacle of the revolution, thus proving the political axiom that a government cannot be revolutionary. End quote. The council became more and more isolated from the people who elect it, and thus more and more irrelevant. And as its irrelevance grew, so did its authoritarian tendencies, with the Jacobin majority creating a, open quote, committee of public safety to defend, by terror, the revolution. The committee was opposed by the libertarian-socialist minority and was, fortunately, ignored in practice by the people of Paris as they defended their freedom against the French army, which was attacking them in the name of capitalist civilization and liberty. On May 21st, government troops entered the city, followed by 7 days of bitter street fighting. Squads of soldiers and armed members of the bourgeoisie roamed the streets, killing and maiming at will. Over 25,000 people were killed in the street fighting, many murdered after they had surrendered, and their bodies dumped in mass graves. As a final insult, Sacré-Cœur was built by the bourgeoisie on the birthplace of the Commune, the Butte of Montmartre, to atone for the radical and atheist revolt which had so terrified them. For anarchists, the lessons of the Paris Commune were threefold. Firstly, a decentralized confederation of communities is the necessary political form of a free society. Open quote, this was the form that the social revolution must take, the independent commune. End quote. Secondly, open quote, there is no more reason for a government inside a commune than for government above the commune. End quote. This means that an anarchist community will be based on a confederation of neighborhood and workplace assemblies freely cooperating together. Thirdly, it is critically important to unify political and economic revolutions into a social revolution. Open quote, they tried to consolidate the commune first and put off the social revolution until later, whereas the only way to proceed was to consolidate the commune by means of the social revolution. End quote. For more anarchist perspectives on the Paris Commune, see Kropotkin's essay, The Paris Commune in Words of a Rebel and The Anarchist Reader, and Bakunin's The Paris Commune and the Idea of the State in Bakunin on Anarchism.